It's time for
Hey, what's up guys? Franco here, nextlevelballplayer.com, hanging out with Donny Harrel, head coach of Seattle University. Appreciate you taking a few minutes.
Absolutely.
Good. We're going to jump right into it. Donny, what advice would you give high school baseball players looking to play for you at Seattle University?
Well, first off, boy, do your homework a little bit. I think that the biggest thing that we run into with kids that come into our university, because it's a little bit more tougher academically, is just that change and being prepared academically. High schools, and I hate to say this, really don't do a really good job of it, of preparing kids for what they're in store for at the college level, and especially at Seattle U, because of how tough our academic life is. So time management would be number one, and two, just be really good of being an organized person, because your whole world's going to change when you step onto the university.
And along those lines, when you get freshmen coming into your program, what's the hardest adjustment you see for those guys?
I think it's 5:30 weights. You know, a lot of kids, our schedule at the Division I level is so much different than high school, and that's not fair to say, because there may be some high schools that start their day that early, but you know, our guys get up at 5:30 in the morning to be able to lift weights at 6, and then they lift, after their weights, they do their speed training, and then so they eat, go to class, and we're a little unusual because we practice from 12:30 to 3, so we practice right in the middle of the day because our kids have labs at 3:40 in the afternoon, and then you know they go to labs at 3:40, eat dinner, and then they have their study hall time. So, David, I think one thing that would be an unusual answer would be their eating habits, of changing what times that they get fuel in their body to keep their day going, because you know, as you know, as an athlete that played, we've got to keep their weight on and their energy up, and so I think changing their eating habits and obviously organizing their time.
Yeah, that's great. Now, when you're recruiting high school players, what are a couple things they can do to stand out, to kind of get them to jump out to you as a recruiter?
Well, you know, you love to go to that field and someone just who doesn't allow you to take your eyes off them. You know, energy is just number one. I mean, we're so limited at our level at Division I baseball with 11-7 that our investments are so valuable, and so when we go to the field, we're looking for someone that stands out personality-wise. I think there's a lot of good ball players across the country that we've recruited, but you got to try to just see that niche of someone that's going to be able to deal with failure so consistently at our level. I mean, it's the best level there is in college, so attitude is number one, and then two is someone that's a little bit self-motivated, and I don't know if we'll necessarily get to see that at the field as much as you think, but you'll see that in the dugout and on deck circle, and maybe even in between pitches, of how they're taking care of themselves or what their routine is when they're not the person in the spotlight at the time of the game. And so we really dig in and watch guys very closely when baseball's not being played at the field, to see how they're going about their business, because it really talks about their mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. So about a little over 3 years ago, you got the head job at Seattle University. There was no baseball program. You got to come in with a clean slate. Talk a little bit about that process, when you started and where you guys are at now moving forward.
It was the reason you take a job like that is for those reasons. We didn't have a baseball. So the first thing that was exciting, we bought a baseball, you know, for the university. And coming from University of Washington, obviously, where we're spoiled, so to speak, with the endorsements and everything of Nike, and obviously being a part of big university, we had 5 guys on campus our first year getting ready for the next year. So we found some kids that were willing to redshirt and come in and give up a year of eligibility to be a part of what we hope is something really magical, and we sold that by creating a chapter in the Seattle University history book for baseball, because of the 26 years it wasn't there. So the kids came in and they created the uniforms, and we started to work on schedules and practice plans and stuff, and I'll never forget that first group. It was a great group, and we had a junior college kid that we lost after 2 years, Doug Buser, who came from the University of Oklahoma. We lost another one last year, Riley Tompkins, and then this year, our redshirt seniors. It'll be kind of that first class of your children, so to speak, that have been through it. But the build has been great. I mean, our progression's been outstanding. We've won more games every year. We've created a harder schedule every year. And, you know, from a coaching standpoint, it's hard because you do this because you want to win and you want to teach. But I also had to know, as did our staff, that we were going to get kicked around a little bit and callous. And everything we've done in those first 3 years is set up for year 4, which is this next year, 2013, going into the WAC conference. And so you hope all that experience and all that underwriting of the book is now going to create a magical story.
That's cool. That's a great story. Final question, what's one piece of advice you give high school players out there looking to play at the next level?
Well, the first thing I'd tell you is get comfortable. I mean, we try to get any of our incoming kids, get around and again, it's hard for some kids because different parts of the country, but as soon as we get a kid committed, we get his text number to all of our guys, his phone number to all of our guys coming in, that whole class, and we ask them to communicate throughout the summer and throughout the fall. For kids that are local or closer to the college you're going to go to every game you can. Go to every one of your home games. Come to any practice you can, which gets a little bit harder in the spring. But spend as much time on campus prior to coming there before your first day of classes or your first practice, because the thing that sets our freshmen or any JC transfer back a little bit further is just that comfort zone of acceptance. And so we try to do a really good job, and we would tell any freshman across the country going to any program, try to get involved with the program way before you're there, because it's going to allow you to have more success earlier.
That's great. Awesome. Really appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
It's time for